when I face a fear, I'm like, okay, time to blaze right through it and just, otherwise I'm not living. Like I've lived stagnant before. I know what stagnant is. And you just start to drown more and more and more.
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, Fearless Freedom Tribe. This is Dr. G, and we are back for another exciting episode of the Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. And today we are here with Amy Novotny, and she is going to tell you all about what she's up to and who she is. Take it away, Amy.
Thank you so much for having me on, Dr. G. It's a pleasure to be here. So thank you very much. So a little bit about me. I got my doctorate in physical therapy. I did that work for a little bit, and then I decided to switch into another realm of helping people when I realized that I can help people in a deeper, more comprehensive way by teaching them how to calm down that fight or flight nervous system. And when I got into this work and started developing it, at the time I was training for the Boston Marathon, trying to qualify, was dealing with the typical runner's aches and pains. And when I was on a treadmill running 8 miles in about 55 minutes, I started changing my body position and the way I breathed. And all of a sudden, all those pains went away. And I realized, okay, I was onto something. I got off the treadmill. And I was like, okay, I don't need to stretch. I don't need to foam roll. I don't need to scrape. I don't need to do all those things. And so like, okay, what am I onto? And so I started experimenting. My next marathon I ran was 7 minutes faster without any other training, blew through the qualifying times. One after that was even faster than that. And I was like, okay, I'm on to something. And at the time, I didn't really know what it was, but I started experimenting with different patients and eventually came up with this technique that led me to being hired to travel around the world to keep a world famous photographer out of a couple surgeries. And I got to go to the Arctic and the Antarctic within 6 months. And when I got back, I said, okay, time to face your greatest fear and to start a business. And that has led me to here.
Wow. That's quite the story.
Yeah.
So, there's like so many things there though. So you talk about running a marathon, which qualifying for the Boston is another thing. And then you talk about how you shaved off time. What? And how you did that. Yeah. So before we get into all of that though, what got you to the point? Like there had to be something that you overcame or that you had to face as far as fear was concerned to even start running that far. Because most people don't run that far.
Yes. So I wasn't a special athlete. I was good at tennis, but I wasn't really a runner. But I was going through a divorce and I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. All I have is this treadmill and a TV in my rental home. So it's like, I'll watch The Biggest Loser and just start walking on the treadmill. And so I started doing it. And I did it for an hour, 3 times a week before work. And I was like, okay. And then someone said, hey, why not try a half marathon? I'm like, no. But then I eventually got up enough guts to do it. And then when I finished that, I was like, I'm never running a race again. And 2 days later, a friend called me up and she's like, I need a favor. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm a person of my word. And she's like, I promise it's nothing bad. And I was like, okay, what is it I'm doing? I'll do whatever it is. She's like, well, I signed you up for the San Diego Marathon and you have 6 months to train. So take that. And that's how I got into running races. And from there,
okay, I don't know. Yeah. People who are listening can't see my face, but I'm like, what?
Yeah. So, and it led me into Ironman triathlon, running
Oh
100
my
miles.
goodness.
And like,
Listen,
I
you
went all
don't
in.
like do anything like, halfway. You go all
No,
out. I love it. I
why
love it.
not?
All in,
Live.
all in.
We gotta live.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
YOLO in full effect.
Yeah.
Wow. So you did even 100-mile one, a
Hmm.
100-mile
I've done
run?
a couple. Yep, a couple 100
Oh
milers
my
too.
God.
Yeah. I
Wow.
know, I know. It's a journey. It's been a journey. I mean, the whole title of your podcast, when I face a fear, I'm like, okay, time to blaze right through it and just otherwise I'm not living. Like I've lived stagnant before. I know what stagnant is. And you just start to drown more and more and more. So then it's like, okay, what is my greatest fear? What is my next greatest fear? And then I just plow right through it. And of course, it's not easy. Trust me, it's not
Oh
easy
no,
and
absolutely,
at all.
absolutely not. Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine like, okay, going from just I mean, you literally went from couch to
Hmm.
marathon to ultra
Yeah.
marathon
Yep.
in a very short space of time.
Really short
Wow.
space of time.
Wow.
Really short. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And do you feel like your experience as if because you said that you're a physical therapist, correct? I catch
I
that?
was, yeah, that's what my doctoral training is. I don't do it anymore, but that's what I was for a while.
But do you feel like that background assisted you to not get injuries? The reason I'm asking you this question
Yeah.
is because I know people, okay,
Mhm.
maybe it's me, that
Yeah.
like, that
Someone.
like,
Someone.
somebody I know, like somebody I know that's really close to me,
Yeah.
um, who, maybe might have like done a whole bunch of 5Ks without like a whole lot of training, pushing
Yeah.
strollers maybe, and
Oh.
injured themselves,
Hmm.
but I just wonder if, had that individual maybe had some background training in, say, physical therapy or something, or knew, things to protect the joints
Hmm.
to prevent injury. Like, do you feel like that helped you
Yes
at
and
all?
no. Yes and
Okay.
no. So it it was good because it told me different exercises to practice, but
Okay.
it didn't keep me out of injury and pain. It wasn't until I developed this other technique with the nervous system, then I ran
Okay.
marathons pain-free. And now when I help people train for marathons, like that's like a friend of mine, she's like, okay, I just want to do a marathon, and just all of a sudden decided. And so she ran 16 miles for the first time in life. She had done one several years ago. She's like, I've never run this pain free. And I have another client right now who had some knee surgeries earlier this year, and he's a high profile business guy, and he's like, and one of the biggest things I was like, okay, you want to fix your needs, we got to calm your personality down, like calm you down, get you to relax and chill.
Right.
And then he's doing really well. He's feeling great. He's back to running 5 or 6 miles. And this literally just happened. He goes on a retreat in September, and he's like, can you check this out? I want to go on this, holistic, just calming retreat. And I'll practice all the stuff you taught me. I'm like, okay. He comes back. This is at the end of September, and signs up for a 100-mile race for December 4th. And I said, oh my gosh, seriously?
Oh, there's no way. That's
So
insanity.
literally going from 5 to 6, maybe 10 miles. I just had him run a back to back. Saturday ran 15 miles, Sunday he ran 20 miles and was fine. And
That's
he's never
nuts.
experienced that before, but he was able to do it. So it wasn't physical therapy, it
Okay.
was the nervous system. That's what got me to run these crazy distances and be okay and be able to do them back to back. I did them back to back too. I tested all of his stuff, but it's the nervous system. It's that fear. You get rid of that fear and you calm yourself, and you have, that faith and trust in yourself, and you know how to feel your body. You can do so much with it. It's ready for you. You just have to figure out how to do that, and that's what I help
Uh,
people. Yeah,
yeah, I have to figure out how to do that with no like meniscus. That'd be great.
you can do that. You can do that. You can. I'm
Like,
serious.
dude, I'm still working on this, rehabbing this stupid knee.
I It's possible. I'm telling you. You get your body in the right position and you have yourself calm, your bones go back into position and you don't have the abnormal impingement and wear on it. You don't have that shearing force. That's how you do it. But
Mm.
If you're in the wrong position and your body gets off kilter and you strengthen in that wrong position, it's going to keep you in that pattern and it will continue to hurt. There's hope for you. Don't worry. There's hope.
All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear there's hope.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. That is quite a testimony, you have to say. And then, okay, so you did this and then you said, you know what? I'm going to face another fear. You said, I'm just going to start a business. Like, what happened there? Yeah. Like, how did that kind of fall into place?
Yeah, that was scarier.
Because to me, that's the scariest part, right? I mean,
that really is. Like, I hadn't taken a business class and I didn't know anything, but before I had gone on that worldwide trip for 6 months, helping this guy and coaching him on this process, I could feel my life was stagnating. I was like, okay, I've run the 100 miles several times. I've done the Ironman. I've done all these things. I volunteer for this nonprofit. I'm doing all these things. I need to spice up my life. So I went on this 6-month journey around the world and I was like, okay, that spiced up my life. And then I was like, okay, well, now I go back to the old life. I can't do that. I'm like, and I read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. And I was like, okay, this has been used to motivate a lot of people. I can see why. Okay, what can I do to become an entrepreneur? And so that's literally what got me started. And I sold my house. I never went back to that same job. And I just said, okay, what do I do? How do I start a business? Okay, name. Let's come up with a name first. Okay, what do I want it to be called? And then it was, okay, I just started asking people, okay, how do I start a business? Do I need a business license? And I literally just did that. And then someone helped me, get licensed and get a bank account and a credit card. And it's like, okay, I have a website and now I can wave my flag and let social media know I'm open for business.
Yeah, your shingle. Wow. Wow. And that was how long ago?
It was at the end of 2018. So Christmas of 2018.
Okay.
And then I built it up in 2019. I started traveling and speaking at different events, but had my in-person office in 2019. And then of course 2020 came and that got shut down. And so I had to start all over and build a new business virtually. And so that's where we are now. So okay,
you have to reinvent yourself. See that right there is what entrepreneurs do, right? I mean, they continue to solve problems, they figure out ways in which to do it, and they have to reinvent themselves constantly. Yeah. So that's good. I'm glad that you're able to do that because not everybody is able to, Yeah. And so no, absolutely. And then so tell us now, so what is that looking like? So before you were traveling all over the place and talking, giving workshops, I'm presuming. And then now how does it look? Does it look like?
Yeah, so I still do some traveling. I still speak at events, and I did quite a bit at the beginning of the year. And then halfway through the year, I decided to now, besides doing one-on-one virtual coaching with people and helping them through a process, and now it's as a package instead of single visits, and people can buy packages and we can go through this process. And I also offer live courses. So I do live group courses as well. That's a new addition this year, as well as a fundamentals and an advanced course. And so everyone has to go through the fundamentals and then they can go on to the advanced. And so that's a new offering this year besides everything else.
Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way, from sign up to launching your show, with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available. If you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us, then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. let's get back to the show. And then, so what kind of people are you getting? Are these all athletes, or what's happening?
No, it's a combination of a whole bunch. So most people I work with are entrepreneurs and business owners.
Okay.
People, very high profile people. The one-on-ones are very high profile, who you can't say their name and they don't want anyone to know their business. And but people in the group, or even some of the people I work with one-on-one, it's kind of, sometimes it could be women who are retired, who are looking to work on their health, improve their status, get out of pain. Sometimes I do have entrepreneurs, or, hard workers who decided all of a sudden they want to run 100 miles or run a triathlon or run a marathon. Or sometimes I work with professional athletes. Sometimes it's parents with their kids who are looking for help to alleviate or reduce ADHD or ADD.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a combination of everything.
Because I would see how that could be quite a lot of business, because that seems to be that seems to be very predominant these days, that particular set of diagnoses. Yeah. Even though I still think like some of it is just that the kids are bored, but that's another story. They're like,
it's often,
because their thought is like way beyond what they're being taught. And so it's like, okay, I'm not really engaged right now. I'm just going to go think about something else.
It's partly that there's also a lot of observation of the parents' behavior. So before I even work with kids, I work with the parents, calm the parents down first, and teach them how all of their habits are setting them to be ramped up. So then the kids now have a different person to model.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. Because they sure do model everything you do, good and bad. Oh my.
Yes.
You look around, you're like, whoa, where'd you learn that? Oh, stop it. You learned it from me. Darn.
Yes. They watch closely. So
they really do. They really do. Okay, that's great. So that's quite the gamut then. I mean, this is like, because I guess when you started talking, and I'll, to be honest with you, I usually do not review what the guests do. I don't like to do that because I like to have a spontaneous conversation. So just like full disclosure. So, so here I was talking to you, and there I was thinking that, this was purely something that would help you to perform from physical side. I didn't realize that this was also a methodology that would help you perform from the psychological side, right? Because if you are now getting families to have a different modus operandi at home, which then reflects on a calmer child, or maybe not necessarily calmer child, but like more focused child, so they're not labeled in school and put on drugs, but like, you know what I mean? Like, so these are deep things, right? These are things that I was not expecting from our initial conversation. So this is cool.
Thank you. Just going to kind of touch base on that a little bit. So I forgot to mention, half of my clients are just seeing me for stress, anxiety, insomnia, and trauma too.
Oh, okay.
So there's not even the physical aspect. It's how they need to know how to calm their body to release. So there's that benefit as well, which that takes like a more serious tone. And there's, a lot of releases that come. And it's a beautiful experience for them to feel their body just take away from some of that protective nature that has developed over the years.
So. And you discovered this in yourself by happenstance?
When I was on the treadmill, when I was literally on the treadmill running. And I still remember the day. I can't remember the exact date, but I remember the day where I was running, and it was like everything just released. I felt like my body finally freed up. I was like, wow, because I had trauma from going through a divorce and all the drama that goes with that, and court and all that. And I was kind of in a stressful position with my job and all that. And it was like everything just felt free. I just felt so free flowing. I was like, whoa, am I late to the game, or did I stumble on this? And I don't know, there might be someone in this world who's doing something very similar. I haven't met that person, but it was just like I just freed up, and it just felt like my legs were free flowing. Like, when you see an animal running and they just look like they're just
Gliding.
living life. Yeah. It's literally, I was just like, wow, look at me. I'm just freed up. Like, just feels so good. And then it's like, okay, now what did I do? Literally, what did I do to myself? And then it was a matter of studying the science. Like, okay, if I'm doing this, what am I doing? And it took a little bit of time to realize I was reaching the nervous system, that fight or flight nervous system, that sympathetic nervous system that ramps us up. And I was working on changing that. And then it was the process of, okay, well, if I work on changing this, how do I stay that way? And do all of my habits put me in that fight or flight mode? So that actually became more apparent when I was working with people virtually. So I could look at you, Dr. G, and see the way that you reach, the way that you bend over, the way that you lift something up, the way that you walk, the way that you sit, and how you do all of those habits can either determine, are you putting yourself in a fight or flight mode with each of those habits, or are you not? And so that's what I can sit there and I can point out people. I'm like, hey, watch how you're reaching. You're doing it and you're stimulating that fight or flight nervous system. So everything in your body tightens up. So you use your back, so it ramps you up more. Now, if we change the way you reach, now can you feel how your body calms down and you reach with a different muscle? And it's once you go through the whole entire day of like looking at how you move, you start to realize how much your body position and the way that affects your diaphragm mechanics, how that impacts you and can either ramp you up or calm you down. It's so powerful.
Wow.
Yeah. I get excited
That
about it.
is really cool to say.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. And then I love it. I love that you had your eureka moment like on the treadmill. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And was this while you were watching Biggest Loser, or were you doing something else at the time? You remember?
That was later. That was later when I was faster and I was running a little bit faster. So at that point, it was like 4:30 in the morning. I was running fast and trying not to fall off because I was a little bit sleepy. So that was later.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Oh, it's good. That's good. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then so that's cool. So you had your eureka moment, you made this major transformation, you were able to utilize this newfound skill set, right? Which you just beautifully, created and grew. And then you're able to see the world with that. You're able to encounter, individuals that most people usually don't encounter and work with. And then you were able to make even greater impact by making it now a virtual offering, right? Because now you don't have to have like geographic limitations, right? So, which is cool,
right?
Because you can work with somebody outside of the world. So that's really neat. And then so now now you're like, you've transformed the business. You started a business, which you had no idea. You worked through that. You transformed the business through the pandemic. And now you're at a great place. You're adding new things to your panel, right? Because you said that you're adding an advanced course now, which is really cool. So you're also evolving throughout this, it sounds like, right? Because you started with the method, and then it sounds like you've expounded upon the method like over time as well, which is cool, right?
Yep.
And then so what do you think now is, so what is, so now what do you think is the fear that you're conquering next? Since it sounds like you've conquered quite a few.
So a couple things business related will be, besides an online course, creating a video course where it's good enough that it creates a transformation in you. So that way I can offer it to the masses and it's less of my one-on-one time, but still have a component where I'm open once a month where people can come and ask questions. So it's creating a community. That's kind of where I want this to go, is I want to create a community where people are coming together. They're realizing they're not alone in this, and they can ask me questions. And even, once you get a community going and you have some people who've been far into the process, they'll start answering questions for others. So that's my biggest kind of goal and task right now is, how do I create a community and get it so where people are interacting and loving on each other and sharing struggles, and that it's actually worthwhile, and it's not just like taking from each other, but like, hey, let's support and encourage each other.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be really good. And so tell everybody, how can they reach you? Like, what are your social?
Yeah. So on social media, if you look up Dr. Amy Novotny, that's the easiest way. The other way is going to my website, PABRinstitute.com. So it's PABR Institute.com. And that stands for Pain Awareness Breathing Relief. So a lot of times people wrap me into breathing, but it's not just breath work. It's changing the mechanics of how all of your body works together to calm you down.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. Oh, wow. So this is, it's great. And then you're going to be expanding it, so it's more available, which is great. You're creating a community, which is also going to be good, because that's something that will, that will just grow on its, it'll grow kind of like organically, which would be nice. Now, the question I have for you though is, are you ready for our tradition on the show, which is fill in the blank? Are you ready for that?
Yes, I am ready. I will do my best and answer the best that I can.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so the first one is, if I am fearless, I will.
If I'm fearless, I will run headfirst into anything and not hesitate.
Awesome. The next one is, to me, fearless freedom means
I can make decisions based on a rational thought and my wants without having some kind of fear hold me back and influencing my path forward.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, my battle cry is,
I can do it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. The Fearless Freedom Tribe definitely appreciates you. And if you would, please let us know the website once more for reaching out.
Sure. PABRinstitute.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic evening.
Thank you so much, Dr. T.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.